All right, everyone. The craziness continues, and please just try to remember to say this in the beginning, but you all smashing the like button has been helping the videos a lot. So if you can remember to do that, I certainly would appreciate that. You know, the craziness gets boosted a lot because of your help. The thumbs up is a very, very easy way to support what I'm doing here. So if you could do that, I certainly appreciate it. And I'm sure some of you must be interested, and I encourage you to subscribe. How about this? You can subscribe, and then if you really don't like it by the end of the video, or however way through you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. But that way you won't forget. Anyway, okay. All right. So this is the next evolution of the Obosh dragon, I guess we can call it. Yeah, Obosh dragon sounds like a good name. I wonder if I should change it. 8-field Obosh dragon. It's gonna be 8-field Obosh for now. If I branch out with a different version, we can call this one uniquely Obosh dragon, and the other one can be Obosh something else. But yeah, so okay, so the general idea here, at least on the main deck side, is we got our 8 fields again. And once again, actually, 8 fields together with 4 blast zones, believe it or not, 12 brown sources, 12 red sources. The 12 red sources seem to actually, work. We might lose some games to mana screw, but we absolutely win a good amount of other games because of having access to this many field of root effects. And beyond that, it's just kind of the standard package. I was messing around with Soul Guide Lantern for a little while instead of Relic of Progenitus. The logic there was that Soul Guide Lantern wouldn't conflict with Dragon Engine because it's pretty, it's a pretty solid graveyard, based card advantage engine, and just some tension where you don't want to always exile your graveyard, especially if you've discarded your Dragon Engine but you haven't hit 5 mana yet. But I've just found that at the end of the day, there's just a lot of things that Relic does that Lantern doesn't, and yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that minor dyssynergy is worth playing Relic, because Relic is one of our best answers to Tarmogoyf, and the main thing is I lost a match to our pal Young Dingo, great YouTube channel, by the way, if you like similar content. He usually plays more so Scam, which is a very similar deck. It just trades some percentage points here for other percentage points there, but I consider it very much a sister deck of this deck. It generally does happen to be, one of our better matchups in general, just because that's kind of where we make up more of our percentages, because we don't have as much interaction with unfair decks, but in exchange we tend to have more, just sort of more firepower for the fair matchups. But that being said, he wasn't playing Scam that time. He was playing some kind of Jund deck. But at the end of the day, really we got juked by Tarmogoyf, and I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. And actually, it was a little embarrassing because, truth be told, he was making some mistakes. Maybe he was like talking to stream a lot or something. I don't know, but like, yeah, but he still, it was Tarmogoyf still just kind of got us. You know what I mean? Like, even with like, basically, I'll say he played like multiple cards out into like Blast Zone. I think he played multiple 2-drops, but I don't think he had Tarmogoyf. Like, I think he played out 2 Dothy Voidwalkers. I killed both of them with Blast Zone. Then he played a Tarmogoyf. Maybe that was a part of his plan, actually. Maybe it wasn't a misplay. In which case, hats off. But get the idea. Like, the point is, Relic of Progenitus at the end of the day just really would have saved my butt. And oh yeah, it's also just so much better against Ren and 6, and especially when we're playing the Cleansing Wildfire, and out of the sideboard at least, an 8-field package. Like, Ren and 6 just undoes so much of what the 8 fields really can accomplish. And while it's not perfect, being able to sometimes keep their graveyard empty without actually having to sacrifice it. It doesn't always work that way, but sometimes they don't necessarily have a lot to do in the early turns that puts cards in the graveyard other than cracking the fetch land. Sometimes the Relic will just keep their graveyard, pretty empty by itself, but also being able to draw a card while also cycling and getting rid of their land. So at least you go up a card when you prevent them from, I mean, you at least go even, I should say. You don't lose a card in the process when you prevent them from returning a land to their hand. Like, Relic is just indisputably a lot better against Ren and 6, which there's a lot of in the format, more than Tarmogoyf. I think Ren and 6 is definitely the bigger consideration, but the fact that, Relic is also one of the best answers against Tarmogoyf. It's also, we don't necessarily see it as much as Ren, for example, but also Drown in the Lock. We can, exile our own graveyard in response. So it's basically like a foil to Drown in the Lock, where Lantern it doesn't do that because we can't exile our own graveyard. That There's probably just a lot of other little stuff here and there too. There just really is. Dragon Base Channeler, it's when we want to hit the graveyard so that we can like bait an attack. Because it has to attack each turn of Fable, but then we can get rid of their graveyard and then block. I mean, true, we can do that with Soulguide Lantern, but with Relic, we get to draw a card in the process. Also, it just keeps the graveyard. Oh, Murktide, just Murktide in general, not just the Dragon Race Channeler, but just Murktide in general. Relic being able to tap and keep their graveyard somewhat whittled down, much better than Lantern. And very importantly, drawing a card where every card matters against Murktide. I actually found that my Murktide matchup was very suspect with the Lantern. Even though it was somewhat close, like I really think that Murktide is one of those matchups where like it's very sensitive to like the tiny little bit of card changes can really swing the matchup. Like it can be a positive matchup, but if you just play like slightly worse cards for the matchup, it can very easily swing into the negative matchup territory. So yeah, I mean, I've done this for a long time. I played Relic of Progenitus together with Mishra's Research desk. Where are those? Here, yeah, here. For the longest time. While Research Desk is a little more flexible because for 3 mana we can it's easier to get out of our graveyard to set up for Relic not disenergizing with it. On the other hand, sometimes we're desperately trying to get to our 3rd land, and sometimes it's not infrequent that we have to exile the Mr. Research deck with the Relic in the process of drawing a card. But even when we do that, when you think about it, back in the day when we used to do that, like in a way, was Lantern still better? I guess in a way it could be, as long as we didn't need to hit their graveyard in the process. But Relic being able to draw a card in addition to hitting the graveyard, sometimes is almost like the value of an extra card itself. So even if we lose the value of a card through Research Desk, we could gain the value of that card back through Relic's activation, drawing a card in the process. But anyway, at the end of the day, we can make it work. We will make it work. And yeah, since I generally put the 5-0 result in the title when I trophy, as you already know, it did work out. And yeah, so yeah, other than that, not really sure what else to say. This is the same package that we've generally played. The select slot here is kind of like Pyrite Spellbomb. I've actually seen other players play cards like Blood Moon, or I guess technically Dragon Engine is also a flex slot. But if you're not playing Dragon Engine, I would highly recommend you play Research Desk. I noticed some people, taking inspiration from this deck apparently and building similar decks, but for some reason it seems like they're not as hot on Research Desk. Look, I get how Dragon Engine might be a tough sell. I'm still experimenting with it, but so far it's been very, very good, and I definitely think it's getting my stamp of approval. But Research Desk is for sure a tried and true card. It's I think you should all give it a try before you dismiss it, because it hits land drops, and it also just digs you further into your deck late in the game. That being said, so why am I opting to play Dragon Engine instead of Research Desk? Well, at the end of the day, see, it's also partially shaped. Why I'm playing Dragon Engine is also partially shaped by how I kind of like Pyrite Spellbomb in the main deck, because I mean it's just good for like hitting pro red. It's just kind of like a nice flexible burn spell that can also draw cards if you need to. And at the end of the day, and I feel like this has got to be in the 75 just because it's so good at hitting pro red. Like especially like in Hammer Time, we just got to get that Sanctifier off the table starting on turn 2. And against Burn, we got to get that Core Firewalker off the table as soon as it hits. Like there's really no other card in Obosh that really, I mean, and frankly, even if you're not playing Obosh, there's really kind of not any better anti-pro red creature hate than Pyrite Spellbomb. And the fact that it's just so serviceable as just a kind of, it's very terrible in Burn, but it actually happens to be kind of good in mid-range. I mean, the fact that it can cycle itself if you're not in a matchup where where the 2 damage really pulls a lot of weight is just so good. Also, it helps you get Delirium because, I mean, we actually don't have, Relic always exiles itself, so unless you discard it with a Seasoned Pyromancer or Fable, like the only way to naturally get a artifact in our graveyard is pretty much Pyrite Spellbomb, so there's some synergy right there. Good for Delirium with Unholy Heat. Yeah, and it's just it's 2 damage when you need it. It cycles when the 2 damage is not so relevant. And I also feel like it's got to be in the 75 somewhere, so just playing it in the main, which I think it's a very main deckable card, just frees up sideboard slots, which we're going to go over shortly. So yeah, Pyrite Spellbomb is just really good, and the fact that we're playing 8 cycling effects in the main deck means that I feel like the business that I'm normally into trying to like power through my deck to hit my 3rd land drop is a little diminished. Now it is true that we still sometimes won't, but I do like how having 8 cycling effects in the early games gives me just a little extra oomph to hit that third land drop. And then once I do, I just like how when I'm in the business, starting in the third, third land drop time frame, at the end of the day, the thing about Dragon Engine is just so many times, if you notice some of my previous leagues, I was discarding Research Desk with Fable or Pyromancer, and at that point, it's 3 mana to draw one card. Essentially, yes, we get to select one, but we have to play it the next turn. Dragon Engine, for 2 more mana, we draw a whopping 3 cards instead of one. We don't have to play them immediately the next turn, like we have to play the one we select with Research Desk, and we get to smash in for 4 damage. It's sometimes 8 if we're lucky enough to have an Obosh out. That's just kind of big game. It's kind of really big game. I'm really just genuinely surprised by, I mean, like the fact that we're playing 8 main deck cards that just cycle through our deck naturally. It just sets up Fable to be such a very solid, I don't know how to say it, just a very solid, almost kind of somewhat free card. It's almost trivial many times, I feel, how we can just set up having access to such card advantage when we when discarding it doesn't really cost us much of anything. But here's the thing, okay? A thought came to me. Like I have played Ox of Argonis in the past. This card would definitely necessitate playing Lantern, Soul Guide Lantern instead of Relic, because this is where you exile cards from your graveyard. It is a little too brutal on us. And that's actually one of the main reasons I'm not playing Ox, because I do think Relic is pretty good, and so that's a major point. I mean, the advantages to this obviously is A, that you get to draw 3 cards even when you're hard casting it, whereas with Dragon Engine, if you hard cast, you don't get the 3 cards. B, you can potentially unearth it more than once. But like in general, I just find that those 2 advantages just are not so pronounced. Because again, even when you're playing Ox, you're going to find that most of the time you're going to be binning it with your Fables and Pyromancers, and rightfully so, because it's just kind of clunky as a 5-drop. I mean, sometimes you do cast it, but like I know back when I was playing it, I was usually binning it. So like, and while there are some cases where being able to draw the 3 cards off of hard casting it is relevant, it's just not a super big consideration in my humble opinion, and that's one reason I favor Dragon Engine. But the other reason is also, like I said, Relic. The fact that Relic is a lot less brutal, because yeah, we have to be a little careful about cracking Relic while this is in the graveyard. Once we get to 5 mana and we can start unearthing it, suddenly our graveyard is pretty fair game for us to be cracking Relics again, right? So it's just it's a little less brutal on the dyssynergy with the Relic. There is some dyssynergy, but it's a lot less. It's a lot more manageable than with Ox. And maybe one of the biggest considerations is this just a lot better when you hardcast it. I mean, while you don't draw the 3 cards, you got to remember also there's a lot of situations with Ox where you won't want to draw the 3 cards. In fact, I don't even think it's optional. Yeah, it says discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. So that's the thing about Ox. It's not even optional. So there's going to be some spots where you actually don't want to cast it. So like, yeah, but Dragon Engine, man, let me tell you, it's a pretty sweet card. Yeah, being able to cast it for 3, it hits relatively hard, 2/2 double strike. 4 damage, smashing 4 damage every turn. It's not exactly the speediest Gonzalez type of effect, but it is still not bad. I mean, especially with Obosh, it starts to deal 8 damage, and that starts to add up, But another consideration, man, it's also more of a hedge against pro red. I mean, I know that it's not as like good as like Pyrite Spellbomb, but just every little bit that we have that is technically not red and doesn't just get kind of sidestepped by pro red type effects, it is kind of sweet. Yeah, the fact that Karn, the Great Creator, also just does jack against it, because while Unearth is technically an activated ability, it's not technically an artifact in the graveyard. At least I'm pretty sure I've unearthed it from the graveyard with Karn, the Great Creator, in play, so it doesn't really affect it in any meaningful way. Yeah, I don't know. It's been pretty good. So I mean, the rest is pretty self-explanatory. I think I've gone over it in previous videos. So the rest of I mean, this is pretty much the best removal suite. Fable and Seasoned Pyromancer are pretty much the best mono red value in town. Fury is obviously part of the removal package and just a proven commodity. But yeah, you can see some of our previous videos. But Flame Slash, Lightning Bolt, and Unholy Heat, pretty much a lock, I think, at this point. Pretty much the best burn spells that mono red has to offer, so they're still in the mix. Getting to the sideboard, I've been finding that, You know, especially when I'm playing the 8 field effects, Flame Blitz has been pretty non-negotiable as a sideboard card. I just find that a lot of times when I get juked, it ends up being because of Wrenn and 6. So having access to Flame Blitz is just a very, very good way to minimize the juking from Wrenn and 6. And the fact that it can also hit Teferi, which by the way can also be a problem out of creativity and some other matchups like what's it called? Tameshi. Also you know, Grist out of yeah, I mean there's just I mean any planeswalker. Big Teferi, you name it. Like yeah, it's just a very good answer to planeswalkers and planeswalkers. While Unholy Heat already was improving my you know I should say decreasing the odds that I get juked by a planeswalker. Flame Blitz is extra help in that department, and the fact that it also synergizes with Unholy Heat because of being an enchantment. So if we cycle it, it adds to Delirium. Yeah, and also the fact that it's cycling, I think it just makes it kind of free. It's just we don't usually get punished much at all if it doesn't happen to be good, if they don't draw their planeswalker or something. When it is good, it's just an MVP and just one of the best cards that you have, and for only 1 mana. And when it's bad, you could just cycle it. So like it's even like good as a 4 of. I mean, a lot of times we really want it early in the game for Ren and 6 anyway. This is the number one reason we like this is one of Red's only ways to cleanly answer Ren and 6. And also for parity too, because they have to deal with the enchantment before they drop other planeswalkers. Or they have to just lose the planeswalker. So anyway, um, yeah. Okay, so then the elephant in the room. I guess we'll start with I mean, 2 elephants in the room. I guess we'll start with Cleansing Wildfire. So yeah, this card does disable Obosh, but yeah, I have been considering, you know, maybe it's worth it to lose Obosh to play Cleansing Wildfire. I was originally thinking maybe it's worth it to just not play Obosh, period. But you know what? We can just play it in the sideboard. It basically in the fairer matchups where the land destruction angle isn't really where we cut our chops. We don't need to bring it in, and then Obosh is usually you know, just an extra great backup plan in those matchups. But then in the unfair matchups, a lot of times Obosh doesn't really matter in those ones anyway. So you know, we can bring in the Cleansing Wildfires, and then we've got 12 fields basically. 12 fields, you know, I mean, this can hit basics too. Really good against Tron, really good against like, you know, Belcher, Oops All Spells, really good against a lot of unfair. A lot of times against our unfair decks, this is the main way we get them. Is they don't. Thankfully, most unfair decks aren't exactly super basic land heavy. You know, thank goodness. But that takes us to the second elephant in the room, which is also Chalice of the Void. Which oh yeah, and by the way, somehow we actually have had a positive matchup against Amulet. We don't win every time. It's actually possible that the 12 fields are even better against Amulet than Blood Moons, believe it or not. I know it's weird, but they're like they're prepared for moon effects. They don't seem to be as prepared for these. So just but that's tentative. We need to get some more games in there, but so far you know, the thing is it's just pretty backbreaking when we hit their Karoo lands. Um, I know that the thing is they can shrug off a few of these, but like when we like 12 of these, when we have a certain critical mass of these, it just kind of really slows them down. And sometimes they can't even get to 6 mana, but sometimes even when they do, sometimes by then our Fables and our Furies are just kind of going nuts. Anyway, so final elephant in the room, Chalice of the Void. Yeah, so this used to be Ratchet Bomb in some previous versions, but so look, Chalice of the Void is just an old card that I used to like. I like the way that it basically hits 2 birds with 1 stone, and that's a lot of times what I'm looking for in sideboard cards. Yes, it disables Obosh, but in the matchups where we want to bring it in, Obosh is usually not super important anyway. You know, with the arguable exception of Burn. Like basically this hits Cascade decks and it hits Burn decks, and it can hit some other combo decks, like decks that rely on you know, Lotus Field, like I mean, whatever it's called, decks that or decks that rely on like 1 drops, like what do you call it, Ad Nauseam. Believe it or not, we can actually sideboard a lot of our 1 drops out. Like for example, we can also sideboard Flame Blitz in. It is technically a 1 drop, but if we cycle it, you know, you can cycle it under a Chalice. So like we can actually sideboard in such a way that we can actually convert into a deck that can actually punish 1 drops, even though we've got a lot of 1 drops in the main deck. We've actually got 12 cards. And think about it, like if we bring out, basically there's 2 different ways we could go. We could take out the, probably the most common ways we take out the Flame Slash, the Lightning Bolts, and then Holy Heats. And then yeah, we've got the Pyrite Spellbombs and the Relics, but we can play those on the first turn underneath a Chalice, and then we still get value. We can crack them, but we can also like discard them later with Fable or Seasoned Pyromancer. The other way we could go about it is keep like some of the red cards in because we can still pitch those to Fury. But at the end of the day, like yeah, bringing in 12 effects really mitigates a lot of the dyssynergies with Chalice, so that's nice. But basically, we bring this in for burn and cascade with some other splash effects, and because just there always is just a lot of burn in the format, so I always recommend trying to have some plan for burn, having some preparation, even if it's not a lot, like have something, because sometimes that's your only way to win. And Chalice on one, Chalice on two, actually, Chalice on two. Needless to say, Chalice on two is completely free. I don't think we should be bringing Cleansing Wildfire in against burn, so. Um, yeah, Chalice on one and then Chalice on two. Generally, you lead on Chalice on one because Chalice on two shuts off playing Chalice on one. But yeah, Chalice on two sometimes against burn. Just keep in mind, sometimes that's where it's at. And yeah, and especially if you can go Chalice on one, Chalice on two, which with four of these, it's not unheard of. That can be pretty. That can pretty much terminate the game. So, and then lastly, we got Shattering Spree. I wish I could play more of these because these are very doable as a four of. But at the end of the day, I like this because this potentially it's good early in the game, it's good late in the game, and it's also got something I really like in a two of, in that it just can have such a massive impact if you draw it off the top of your library in a late game. This definitely fits the bill of that, but the fact that it can also be very cost effective in the early game, like hitting an Aether Vial or something, is very much icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that it also doesn't conflict with Obosh is nice, and I am generally looking when I have a two of to fill out my sideboard, since unfortunately Wizards still hasn't enabled me to play, a 16 or 17 card sideboard. I wish they would allow me to have a 16 card sideboard and the companion not to have to take an extra slot, which would probably be too backbreaking to be honest. But but that way I could just that way then I obviously would play four Shattering Sprees, but two Shattering Sprees, man, it's yeah, it's still pretty good. Yeah, and oh yeah, and you probably and there's the other elephant in the room. We don't even need Ragavan anymore. You probably noticed there's no Ragavans anywhere in the 75. That's not actually a mistake here. That's not some kind of deck registration error. Um, it might be a little tentative to say too soon, but I actually think with this new 12 field, Field of Ruin, Demolition Field, Cleansing Wildfire out of the sideboard plan, I actually don't know if we need Ragavan, because one of the only reasons I actually found myself really wishing I had Ragavan was being able to kind of keep decks like Belcher, keep decks like Tron, keep decks that want to that basically decks where Cleansing Wildfire for the most part already kind of keeps them off balance starting on turn two. So I find that Cleansing Wildfire, this has been a budget kind of go-to replacement, and one of the reasons why I find that Obosh-less builds tend to be more favorable, when you're playing budget variants. But like, yeah, I actually think, I don't know, this could still be not a sure thing, but I'm leaning towards Ragavan not actually being necessary or actually even optimal in the deck anymore. No, I haven't sold my Ragavan, so I'm not completely sold on that. But that would be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? Especially for these for the players of mine who don't want to shell out for Ragavan. Ragavan, believe it or not, just might not actually be at its best in this deck, even though it almost feels like it was made for this deck. This deck might have outgrown it. Anyway, yeah. Well, let's get to the games. I think that's enough. 24 minutes of commentary. Hope you all enjoyed. Let's get to the match. All right, let's get into it. Match one, game one. Obviously, Obosh, I choose you. And this is a keepable hand if I've ever seen one. So this is actually kind of a throwback seeming to we obviously have to bolt the bird, but this is definitely looking like Gruul midrange. Um it's a cool deck, obviously, and already we're really liking that we're on Relic. Now, obviously the Arbor Elf, um, the Arbor Elf keeps their graveyard a little stacked. But starting from this turn, especially with a second Relic, This can go a long way in keeping Renin 6 under control. Also, if they happen to draw Klothys. Oh, that's another thing too. Relic also is a game changer against Klothys. Oh, that's going to be good if we bring in a Cleansing Wildfire. I'm almost tempted to just bolt the Renin 6, but I guess drawing a card, pretty good. Okay, hey. Yeah, Fable, don't mind if I do. If we can tag the Ragavan with the Goblin Shaman, but it's obviously going to get stomped. Yeah, pretty obvious. So we're probably going to end up bolting the Renin 6 in a turn because it's going to be kind of brutal if this, You know what, actually, maybe we won't. I can't remember what we did exactly, but with these two relics, we might be able to just prevent it from, yeah. We might be able to prevent it from, um, ultimating. Well, not preventing it from ultimating, but basically mitigating the ultimate, because even if the ultimate, it's just not. Yeah, but I guess we chicken out a little bit, and rightfully so, I think. Um, oh yeah, also another thing too. This is where we can, you know, yeah, I decided just not to do this because it's just so perfect. We just cleanly draw 3 here. Yeah, we can also just cleanly and see. Look, they lost another card off of that. See. Like, they would have totally hit the Goblin Shaman, but they were worried about taking 4 damage from that. And rightfully so. Alright, well that's a little unfortunate, but I think it's fine. But like they used the whole card. Oh yeah, and we were even able to get some value out of this. And then we can Fury, maybe even Fury and attack. Yeah, I mean why not, right? Yeah, so just very solid. As you can see, that's like a lot of times it feels like if we unearth that dragon engine, it's just a wrap. Now, granted, we might have been able to win without it, but we just pulled so ridiculously far ahead. I mean, sometimes the best way to kind of buffer yourself against either getting unlucky or also your opponent, clawing out with just playing meticulously well. I mean, what can I say? Like, there's very little downsides to just pulling way ahead. And Dragon Engine, man, smashes for 4, draws us 3 cards, very de minimis, very, very little legwork to actually get that card advantage engine going. Very little dyssynergy with any other core cards that we like Relic. I think this kind of showed. I'm kind of a believer, and this was a good way to start off that believing. Well, I mean, I was a believer since the last league. I already 5-0'd with it. I'm gonna check out my channel, a few some number of games ago, but maybe it was even a month ago by the time this goes up. But like, I mean, I was already starting to be a believer then, and it just, as you can see right here, it's continuing. Anyway, all right, next match. All right, match 1, game 2, and I'm sorry, did I say next match? I meant next game. Anyhow, sideboard. How do we sideboard? Uh, I'm surprised we didn't bring in the Flame Blitz when they showed us Renin 6, but it seems like we did bring in the Cleansing Wildfires, so we do lose access to Obosh, but just being able to Cleansing Wildfire those lands that are juiced up by the Utopia Sprawls just seems a little too good to pass up. And Pyrite Spellbomb, I don't see any pro red making its appearance here, so I think that's a pretty, it's a pretty safe sideboard out. I am a little surprised we didn't bring in Flame Blitz. I think we could have probably taken out Flame Slash, although being able to hit the Arbor Elf can be game changing. I don't know. It's possible that we didn't need to. As you can see, their own Blood Moon actually also kind of dysenergizes with the Renin 6. But yeah. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Definitely Cleansing Wildfire on a land that's has a Utopia Sprawl on it is a pretty big game. Let's see if we can pull that off. All right. So believe it or not, I feel like I can keep this. Notably, this would be a mana screw hand even if we did not. Even if we were not playing Demolition Field, because it's not Demolition Field that's screwing us up. But this is the thing, if we're not against a super aggressive deck, we generally have time to convert these Field of Ruins into mountains anyway. Now this is going to be a little concerning, because this turns into that 8/8 trample. Now that being said, I do have a plan. Now it's a plan. I don't know if it's a plan that's going to work, but that plan is going to be juicing the Blast Zone up to 2. Certainly burning this out is going to be pretty impossible. If they drop Blood Moon, I'd probably just scoop on the spot. But if I do get to survive, I mean, I'm in quad bolt range, but if I do get to survive, and if I do draw an untap land, which is more than an ask than you think of it, but we did do it, we did pull it off. Yeah, we actually do have the 8/8 under control, which is nice. And we're gonna be taking 3, so now we're in triple bolt range. But you see, folks, this is one of the things about Blast Zone, man. Oh man, they're really punishing us though. I don't know. So this is gonna probably be pretty close if we even. I mean, yeah, this is probably like at best this is probably gonna be pretty close because they're really sticking it to us. But yeah, at least Blast Zone just gives us outs to situations we just never would have otherwise. Yeah, we obviously have to do this. It's just okay, and we're down to single bolt range, man. I mean, heck, we're down to like double Ren and 6 pinging us range. So, bottom line, it's not looking so good for us. Yeah, we might just. So, I mean, now if they have another Fury though, that's just kind of GG. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we didn't draw an untapped red source too, but not that we still would. Yeah, and then yeah, I mean, Fury would have been more style points, but Lightning Bolt does it too. All right. All right, match 1, game 3. Oh, before we continue on, see how we sideboarded. Same as last time. Again, my only critique would be maybe, and this is an obvious keep, but my only critique when they mulligan to 5, which is so that was obviously a mistake. Yeah, that was just a misclick. Obviously, then the Bugbear is a no-brainer, but it turns out we're not punished. The only way we get punished there is if we draw a second Den of the Bugbear, which is more likely than you might think. Okay, so Ren and 6, clearly on the table, so to speak. Yeah, Unholy Heat seems like. Yeah, I think we're going to discard the 2 lands. Yeah. Oh no, we discarded Flame Slash too. I guess fair enough. Surprised we discarded the Bugbear instead of the Demolition Field. I guess we're thinking 8. Yeah, they're so far behind though. So we're going to do this because we want to be able to pump the Blast Zone and bring out tokens. Now we don't attack with Bugbear because they could have Stomp or Lightning Bolt pretty easily. Okay, that's fine. Get our tokens, Flame Slash, go to town. Oh, or play Fury. Fury is a little better. This also means that we can attack and also hold back to block a Ragavan, which they haven't shown us yet, but would not be completely out of left field if they did have it. Okay, fair enough. So we're going after our tokens. All right. All right, we are going to just tempt fate here. And as it turns out, yeah. So 2 tokens to Ren, 3 to them. We are exposing ourselves to a Raga hit, but I think it's reasonable here. Okay, no Ragavan at least. Yeah, might as well enact the 8 field plan a little bit. Bam. Fable. All right, and that's match 3. I mean that's match 1, game 3 for you. Yeah, I mean they're pretty anticlimactic, roll to 5, but you know, we didn't get to Cleansing Wildfire their land. Maybe actually that's too cute, Cleansing Wildfire. Maybe we just kind of outmuscle them with the Obosh anyway. Anyway, one of the only cards that I'm super worried about in this matchup is actually Karn, so there is a non-zero consideration of bringing in Shattering Sprees. Something to consider. I probably would generally not err on that unless I'm like literally on game 3, because if I win game 2, I don't think like I need to for. If I win game 1, I don't feel like I need to for game 2. But here on game 3, that is a consideration. We just don't want to get. We cannot afford to get juked by Karn. Anyway, all right. All right, match 2, game 1. Let's see what the old deck cooks us up. This is a very keepable hand, obviously. Sequence our Bugbears correctly this time. And all right, and Tron. And so this is where we're really going to put the 12 fields to the test. First, let's see if we can actually win game 1. And being on the play is a very good thing, because that means we can start demolition fielding before they get to Tron as opposed to after. The problem we have here is that I only have 1 demolition field, and for this reason alone, the fact that we drew another one means that I'm kind of inclined to blow that. If we didn't draw another one, I would have been inclined to just play the Dragon Engine, because it does turn out they would have had Tron, because they don't always have Tron naturally, and being able to get on the board is pretty powerful. All right, well, and I'm kind of incentivized to just play Fable, but we decided to do this instead. And this is probably a mistake, but no, you know what the problem with Fable is if they just drop Tron land, then they Oblivion Stone and we're screwed. And they would have had Tron land. Well, maybe not, because that Urza's mine. No, that would have actually. Never mind. The Urza's mine would have been Tron. My guess is they do have the last Tron land, which is unfortunate. But I mean, we can't always hope to get there with 8 fields. So you do need more than 8 fields. Thankfully, we do have them in the sideboard. Okay, that's a little odd that they're doing that. We might as well hit that. Yeah, let's Seasoned Pyromancer it up. Yeah. Alright, that was kind of a necessary draw. And will this be enough, actually? I'm guessing they're still going to be on Tron. Yeah. And the ability for them to just constantly find Tron lands is really impressive. Yeah, relentlessly, always going for Tron. So, I think this is an end of turn Unholy Heat, so that's cool, I guess. So, I could Dragon Engine. I guess I should. I could and I should, I guess. Easy to discard. I still might as well. Yeah, and that was just so free. We can Unholy Heat the other one. So, okay. Karn Liberator. I think we have to. Interesting that they attack with that. I think we have to take 3 damage. Is 3 damage. Yeah, that was a little bit risky, but I guess. See, I guess, I don't know, I guess it turns out that was risky for us, but I guess it turns out that maybe it does work out okay. Warping Will. Yeah, we should have expected as much. Alrighty. Yes, this is pretty crazy when you think about it. That's 5/5 Walking Ballista. There's Urlamogs. We gotta get some of our field effects, or that is just GG. It just really is. Gotta do this. Okay. Gotta do this. Oh man. Wait. I think we conceded, not them. Yeah, we conceded because I guess we just didn't want to show them too much more. No, yeah, because we know they got an Urlamog, so yeah, no point in continuing. All right. All right. Match 2, game 2. Let's see what we sideboard. Very obviously, how much you want to bet we brought in Cleansing Wildfire, and we did. We also brought in Chalice, interestingly. I guess that does make sense. I think Chalice is better on the play against Tron. The main issue is that it gets it's just so freely disabled by Karn Uptick because it turns into a 0/0 artifact creature and dies. I think Chalice being good against Tron is honestly kind of a pre-Karn the Great Creator being an automatic 4/of in Tron. So yeah, in retrospect, maybe Chalice is not so great. However, Lightning Bolt and Flame Slash are also a little suspect, as is Relic because it turns off our Unholy Heats. That being said, we did bring out 2 Unholy Heats anyway, I see. Um, so it's very possible at least the Lightning Bolt should come back in instead of the Chalices. Or the Relics, you know, just for more card draw. We'll see. We'll see how this all pans out. Alrighty. Yeah, this is a pretty obvious keep. We've got Cleansing Wildfire and two field effects. The Cleansing Wildfire on the play is especially good because it means that we can guarantee that they won't hit Tron on their turn 3, and we can take that 1 turn off to drop a Fable. Very, very critical because dropping Fable enables us to get in damage, filter further, and very critically generate more mana. So we can actually, as soon as next turn, we can even double field. Or more likely field drop another Fable. And yeah, the advantages that Fable brings will very quickly spiral out of control in our favor. At least that's the hope. Okay. Yeah, and then we very obviously Field of Ruin. Yeah. We play another Fable. Yeah, now we're gonna generate so many tokens, it's insane. And we get to cycle through so much of our deck. Okay. Alrighty. Hopefully we get to double field. Well, actually, we get to Shattering Spree. So I hope we don't miss that we actually have the perfect answer here to our conundrum. I really hope I Shattering Spree before I Field a Ruin, because if we Field a Ruin, that enables them to potentially cast. Yes, we do. We are worried about Warping Whale, and rightfully so. Oh, and they already have a forest in hand, so there we go. Boom, boom. I think we're gonna just the Flame Blitz and the Fury. Yeah, let's go. Oh man, I've got a good feeling about this one. That's kind of an understatement. And look at them just going nuts, putting lands into their hand. It's disgusting, really. But we are kind of taking the fight to them. You know, what can I say? Oh yeah, they just had enough, and I don't know who can blame them. All right, match 2, game 3. Same sideboard apparently as last time. Let's go. Yeah, we got Cleansing Wildfire. We have to keep. And I'm gonna Shattering Spree that Chromatic Sphere too. Every little bit we can take to hopefully delay Tron is super exponentially important. Okay. All right, we're gonna Cleansing Wildfire that. Oh man, I want some Field of Ruins, but hey. All right. Oh hey. Well, so we know next turn is in the clear at least for Tron mana. Unfortunately, we cannot capitalize and put our Seasoned Pyromancer out there. Man, if only we could have capitalized, because now I'm pretty not sure. We definitely cycle a Flame Blitz. That is good. That is also good. That is also good, not gonna lie. If they don't have Karn, Chalice could be pretty backbreaking. This is mine. Alright, well I guess we have to. That was a mistake. Oh my god. I remember this. This was so painful for me. And I was almost ready to just call it a day here, but I decided to play it on. You know, this was so bad though. I clearly I just didn't. You know, whenever this happens on the opponent's side, you know, I'm like, oh man, that sucks. But I'm like, that'll never happen to me, right? And then just like it does, man. It just sucks. What happens is you get distracted because of something on YouTube or something, and then you forget to actually pay the mana. Yeah, that's just how little they care about Chalice. Well, I guess, you know. Well, hey, you know what though? This gives us a shot of Ruzies. You know, it really does. And by the way, we're not going after towers because we want to minimize the amount of towers they search for, really. Nikachu used to explain how that worked. Um, we can Unholy Heat that, I guess. We might just block and then do this in a turn. Might seem weird, but yeah. Okay. I wonder why we're holding off on the Unholy Heat. We do have Delirium. I guess we want Unholy Heat and then Fury, the lifelinking token. Still could have done that by Unholy Heating into turn, but I guess that's what it is. Okay, Blast Zone on 5, you know, reasonable. Alrighty. Okay. That's fine. I mean, amazingly, we are still kind of looking like maybe we're going to end up okay. Yeah, we'll gladly sacrifice the. I don't know why I held the elemental token back. Well, I guess I don't want to. I want to minimize the damage. I don't know why they're prioritizing that. I don't know if they realize that Unearth means that things go into the, you know, that thing's getting exiled in a turn. But yeah, I think the Goblin token was better. But hey, why would I be arguing with that? Man, and already they're threatening Tron again. But let's see. We do have 2 cards we can, and that's good. That is very good. That is very good. I definitely approve of this. Yeah, cycle these. Cycle these. Probably gonna play Pyrite Spellbomb and Seasoned Pyromancer. We should only be able to play Seasoned Pyromancer, but they'll let the Goblin Shaman token live, which we're not going to complain with. Oh, a lot of card draw. Card draw everywhere, but not a Field of Ruin to drink. Let's see here. What is up with these Tron players taking so long? I mean, is this really a deck that requires you to take this long? I'm trying not to be too critical, but anyway, it is what it is. Do we just have lethal here with Den attacks? I think we do. All right, good thing we saw that. This is the best way we can foreclose them getting to Tron. Is just kill them before they get to Tron. That's the best what burn players. Burn players are like, you know, what do you mean turn 3? What do you mean? Well, technically, burn winning on turn 3 is a little rare, but they're like, you know, what do you mean turn 4 when they can actually attack with Wormcoil Engine? What do you mean turn 4? Anyway, all right, and then it's pirate time. Yay! Okay. Alrighty. Match 3, game 1. And this, what can I say? This looks like a cute little hand. Our old buddy, our old pal, Hammer Time. You know, let's yeah, looks like a nice experience for us. I wonder why. I feel like we were distracted or something. Oh no, you know what it is? We wanted to represent double. You know, this could have actually just I don't know. We might just get juked here, but we basically want to represent double lightning bolt. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, it is what it is. But we may have actually. No, I think they're gonna get us with the Ginger Brute if I remember this correctly. But I mean, like we tried to set ourselves up being okay. I mean, Yeah, we knew they had another one, so we're just trying to go for a blast zone. We got a lot of draws to make it happen. There we go. Yeah, we actually, man, this is crazy, man. Like I must have been on fire here or something because it's like I mean, don't I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but like somehow I was just kind of like nah, this they they they've got it. They had it from the beginning, I think. I think they had like double hammer, and I think they kind of like missed their opportunity. I mean, but don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it was objectively wrong for them to do so, but some hammer players just go for it, and that's the thing about hammer, man. I tell you. Okay, so sploosh. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Well, we can. Now we are exposing ourselves a little bit. Usually their Gingerbread is their only hasted creature, so okay. I can take them off of blue. We just have so many Field of Ruins that we might as well. I think I make a mistake here and I play the Dragon Engine. I don't really see. Oh, I guess we have another Dragon Engine in the graveyard anyway. Yeah, and they just had enough. That was insane, man. That was insane. I can't believe I played that the way I did. And it's like literally I mean we would have died for sure to that Gingerbread if I hadn't, because I think the literal last card we drew was the Blast Zone off the top, so I had to cycle that. Um like I just knew. I just knew that they had it. I mean they had to have had it, right? Otherwise they would have given it unblockable, I guess. Yeah, it's crazy. All right. All right, match 3, game 2. Man, let's see if we can replicate that. That was pretty pretty solid. Like I think they easily had us there. I think. Now maybe they didn't have double hammer, but I think they had double hammer and they were worried about double lightning bolt. That was my only out there really. Is literally I was just representing double lightning bolt. Kind of to a fault almost, but somehow I'm just like they got it, and like I have to put the fear of God into them that I got double lightning bolt. Anyway, um, cleansing wildfire is a consideration, but with so many Field of Ruin effects, I just feel like it's not necessary. Chalice of the Void is also a trap in my experience. They got so many ways to like if you don't play it very early, like the main problem is just it shuts off all our burn spells, and they still get their hammers through Urza Saga. They can still I don't know. Yeah, they still get hammers through Urza Saga. They still what else? Is there a way they can avoid having to cast it? I don't know. Like I feel like there's also some way. Oh yeah, yeah. Also, Stoneforge Mystic. Stoneforge Mystic just totally sidesteps Chalice. As long as they have a Sigarda's Aid down, beforehand. But even if they don't have a Sigarda's Aid down, if they have a Pure Steel Paladin, which we by the way can't deal with, because it's shut off all our burn spells on one. So like no, this is not a matchup for Chalice of the Void. Chalice of the Void is a trap in this matchup. Maybe if we built our deck a little differently, maybe if we had a lot more 2-mana removal spells, maybe I don't know, but in reality, Chalice of the Void is just going to end up completely gimping our deck, if that makes sense. Um, so I think all we did is we took out Relic of Progenitus, and actually we put in 2 Shattering Sprees. We actually put in 2 Flame Blitz, and I think the reason was that Relic just doesn't do anything, and all it does is just turn off Delirium. But in retrospect, Relic, I don't know. I mean, we're never going to actually play Flame Blitz because they have no Planeswalkers. That being said, they also have no graveyard. It's pretty much a toss-up. Maybe that is correct to bring in the Flame Blitzes. I mean, we could bring in a Cleansing Wildfire, but then we lose Obosh. I don't know. Maybe next time Cleansing Wildfire is the way to go. I just don't see us really bringing in Obosh much, and this is clearly a keep. Okay. So this is also a good thing about this. We could cycle the Flame Blitz. And we might not have wanted to go for Cleansing Wildfire anyway. Oh man, they're really going at it. Okay. I always think we should be hitting the Field of Ruins. I think this was a mistake because they could protect it. Okay, well they didn't. Okay. Okay, that is scary. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, especially since that is summoning sickness. But I guess they had another hammer. Well, then that would have just been GG. Oh, it was GG. They have exactly. All right. Well, yeah, only so much we could do there. Um, yeah, man, Urza Saga on the play sometimes. Well, maybe Cleansing Wildfire on the draw is where we want to be, but Cleansing Wildfire on the play is probably not necessary, because we usually hit the field by turn 3 anyway. All right. Match 3, game 3. So same configuration. Again, maybe on the draw, Cleansing Wildfire is where we want to be. And having Cleansing Wildfire might have still been good because we don't have any fields, even though we have 8 of them, but we'll see. That definitely looks like a Saga to me because, yeah, because they want to juice the Saga apparently. Okay. Alright, well, we're going to play out the Fable. I know this could get spell pierced. Okay, it didn't. And, you know, Urza Saga tokens aside, I think this is a very solid situation. Yeah, we don't want or need to discard anything. Yeah, I'm just going to take the trade. Now, yeah, I don't think they can, because they could play Sigarda's Aid. Yeah, they actually could have. They could have. No, actually, they 1 mana short. Okay. Yeah, and Blast Zone is going to give us the ability, I think, to clinch the game. That is, yeah. Oh, another Urza Saga, man. I got 8 fields and they only got 4 sagas, so come on, man. Come on, deck. Don't let me down. That's letting me down, dude. That's letting me down. But see, my logic is if I draw another card, okay, well, if I draw another untapped land, I could still hold Blast Zone up. So now I'm kind of in the danger zone. If they have, you know, Sigarda's Aid. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I guess so. I guess why not? Flame Blitz, yeah. All right, fine. 2 Shattering Sprees though, and a Fury. Actually, Fury is kind of the bee's knees, actually. All right, looks like a good Fury to me. Surge of Salvation. Yeah, we're going to do this in response. Gain 3 life, fine. We still have 1 mana open up for the Lightning Bolt. I think they're going to get a Pithing Needle. Okay, Shadow Spear. That's fine, but they don't. Okay, well, they have Pithing Needle in their hand. However, I think the Shattering Spree is going to be their demise. Man, they had a card advantage hand, but we had an even more card advantage hand. What can I say? And that's a wrap. They just like, we're done. They're just like, you know, I'm out of here. Man, alrighty. Alright, match 4, game 1. Let's see. Obosh, I choose you. And hey, this is a serviceable hand, if I've ever seen one, in my humble opinion. Oh, and it looks like the Coffers deck. This is one of the reasons I'm playing Dragon Engine is we really have to be able to. Oh, maybe it's not. Okay, never mind. It looks like it's not the Coffers deck. I do think we can beat the Coffers deck, but I will say that a Golgari Midrange is probably a much better matchup because Coffers is trying so hard to go over the top of us, whereas Golgari Midrange, I don't think respectfully it even comes close to going over the top of us. It just can't with cards like Dauthi Voidwalker, which is why I don't play it in my mono black deck. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dauthi Voidwalker is a solid card. It's just yeah, and this is just such an obvious Fury here. I will obviously take this opportunity. Man, see, like, this is the thing about Fable, man. Sometimes the token just dies, sometimes the reflection just dies, but when it doesn't, And unlike Ragavan, like it's just so much value even if they deal with the tokens. It's always a 2-for-1 basically. Plus it filters. It's just, oh my God. It's just, I just can't take it, you know. All right, they're probably gonna block Fury, which is fine. Maybe I should have played the Spellbomb first. Then we're gonna go work on their lands a little bit. Yeah, I mean, why not? Like maybe they run out of basics, and there you go. They ran out of basics. Even two-color decks can play a surprisingly little amount of basics. What can I say? Well, now I know to be a little more, to save my fields a little more. I think I'm gonna kill the Dark Confidant. Well, okay, I guess I decided to. Yeah. All right, that's fine. I don't know why I didn't copy. Oh, yeah, because I want to put Obosh to hand. That's why. All right. Alrighty, and that's that. All right. Match 4, game 2. I think we need Shattering Spree. I think we need Flame Blitz. I think we need Cleansing Wildfire. I don't think we need Chalice. So we're basically main bordered. There you go. Yeah. We got a lot of answers to Tarmogoyf. We got a lot of answers to their creatures like Dark Confidant. We have a lot of answers to their Urza Sagas. We're pretty set, in my humble opinion. I think we're okay. I mean, that's just the nice thing about Obosh Red, is who would have thought a mono red deck kind of just has answers to everything in the main deck, for the most part. And that was unfortunate they didn't actually put a land in their graveyard to return to their hand with Witherbloom. But I don't blame them from going after the Relic right then. We can't crack it for value. I would probably do that too if I were them. Okay, that's a Tarmogoyf. Alright, we're going to play the Seasoned Pyromancer, and it's going to be one of these games. This right here, folks, though, is one of the reasons why I recommend like Seasoned Pyromancer. Like you really don't want to be skimming on these Seasoned Pyromancers. I know they can be a little pricey, but yeah, you really, unfortunately, I think that's gonna boost it. But we can block and maybe kill with the Unholy Heat. Block like that, I guess. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay, well, it's a little unfortunate that we, dropped the ball a little bit there, but it is what it is. Okay. Alright, that's pretty good use of their mana, not gonna lie. I guess they didn't see that coming. That's cool, I guess. Okay. Probably 1-2 to them, 1 each to the Grist. Yeah, makes sense because they don't have enough mana to be able to deal with Bullfit. Sucks for them though that they were F6ing. Okay. And we might as well play the other Dragon Engine. Yeah. And we can put Blast Zone to 2 probably. Alrighty. Okay, what are they gonna do? Fatal Push. Blood Chief's Thirst. Okay, as you wish. And then we're probably gonna just flash back, you know what? And it should be GG. Yeah. Man, that's not bad, man. Dragon Engine's still, man, doing good. Alright, match 5, game 1. And this is a keepable hand. I mean, it has the ability to hang in there in the early turns. Okay, this looks like probably Yawgmoth. So we want to hold these Flame Slashes for the actual Big Daddy Yawgmoth himself. Okay, so well, I'm surprised it didn't smack us for 3, but hey, we'll take it. And this enables us to do this. And so I think I will actually Flame Slash or not. Interesting. I decided to play it a little conservatively. I respect myself because they're not putting a lot of fetch lands in the graveyard, so I respect my decision to Play conservatively, especially since they have a Yawgmoth here, and we definitely good that we saved that Flame Slash for the Yawgmoth. That is for sure. Okay. Yeah, that's a good use, if I do say so myself. Okay, so they got that out of the way for us. I kind of like that they sacrificed it, because that thing could be a little tricky to deal with otherwise. All right, but then we have a Fury, and we're gonna have to use the Fury to go all to the Grist, because the Grist just can be hard to manage otherwise. But one-shotting the Grist and leaving a creature behind is good. Now, hopefully we have another Fury so we can clean these up, but these are what they are. These are what they are, and they're not what they're not. All right, we could have played 2 of these, but the Relic I think is more important. Although maybe we should have. But see, they played a Yawgmoth. Now, if they have like a, they don't. But if they had like a Yawgmoth or something, they could have gone absolutely nuts. There's another situation where Relic is just so clutch. Yeah, we just do this. Yeah, we good thing we saved the answers for the Yawgmoth. What can I say? And they're gonna proliferate. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm gonna play another Dragon Engine because why not? See what I mean? These Dragon Engines though, they can just smack the opponent pretty hard. I think we're gonna hit the Visor. Yeah, they just had enough. Who could blame them? Because the Dragon Engine's coming back next turn. But just drawing 3 would have felt so good, but they deprived us of that opportunity. All right. Okay. Match 5, game 2. Oh yeah, it's good to see how we sideboarded. How much you want to bet we brought in Flame Blitz? We certainly did. We brought out the spell bombs. I think that's reasonable. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, Flame Blitz for the spell bombs. Just being able to one-shot Grist is pretty big game. Yeah, Grist and Yawgmoth are really their payoffs. I mean, the rest of their deck is a little I'm sorry, it's a little janky. But really their deck is really based off of the power of Yawgmoth and Grist. Yeah, those cards are pretty nutso. Yeah, and we do have a lot of other answers for Yawgmoth, so we do feel like we can be a little gutsy here. We're not gonna blow the Fury just yet. Who knows? They could play another Grist. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. Seems like they're gonna play end of turn Court of Calling. I mean, they obviously are gonna Court of Calling, but I obviously can't just let a perfectly good opportunity to deploy a Goblin token go to waste. Maybe they could drop a Yawgmoth. Okay, so it's a Grist. All right, but it's not too bad. This could have been much worse. I think this is a Fury, though. Is very much a Fury here. Yeah, that's all of their cards are gone. I was thinking about just playing the other Relic, but I think I'm worried about getting blown out by like a Crime and Punishment or something. Draw a card, yeah. Oh man, this is so brutal. And we can potentially go to town with the Fury next turn. Do have a Relic. I don't know why they did that. Oh, Flame, Fatal Push. Fair enough, but we can just hit that. Just attack with those 2. Play Relic. Yeah, I mean, I think we got this on a lock. Yeah, and so then they agree. With that, that's a wrap. That's a trophy, folks. All right. All right. So post-league wrap-up. Hey, well, the Chalices literally never came in except for Tron, where they probably shouldn't have. But in subsequent games, I do think we actually juked a Rhinos match once. Chalices are not the most ideal form of hate, and even then, even the most ideal forms of hate, Rhinos can have answers to. But it's still like sometimes it is something. You know what I mean? Like it does give us some juking ability. So yeah, like I mean, hey, that was a pretty clean 5-0. I loved it. And, I've been noticing a lot of other content creators like Gabriel Nassif, Yellow Hat on YouTube, Bob the Dog, I believe, is the handle on Magic the Gathering Online, and Marin MTGO, and or Marin MTG, I think. Anyway, and who else? Somebody else has been playing my deck. Has been playing my deck. Oh yeah, and Electric Bob. He's been playing it. He's been playing a variation, a few different variations, and yeah, it's actually yeah, apparently there's been some players that have gone very deep in the challenges with variations. Typically they're playing Blood Moon main deck. My guess is this because maybe creativity is overrepresented in the challenges. I don't know though, folks. Like, it's so weird because whenever they play it, they seem to dominate creativity. But like, I'm telling you guys, I have played even main deck Blood Moon extensively against creativity. That's just not been my. Now, maybe it's because they see Gabe Nassif or something, and there's no way he's playing like the MHayashi, main deck Blood Moon deck, and then bam, the Blood Moon just destroys them. Like, maybe they see MHayashi and they're like, huh, how am I not going to hold up one blue for my spell pierce, against their Blood Moon? You know what I mean? Like, I have to imagine on some level they're just playing around Blood Moon a lot more against me, MHayashi, than they are against these other content creators because I do see them like destroying. I do see them like destroying creativity with main deck Blood Moons, but I do think I could be totally wrong about this, but I honestly do think that there is this element where because everybody's expecting me to have Blood Moon, I don't think in any of my matchups, not just in creativity, I don't think Blood Moon is ever as effective with me. I honestly think it's because my name has become so synonymous with Blood Moon that ironically I jinxed it. But the funny thing is everybody fetches out all their basics, and then I get them with the Cleansing Wildfire. Now I might be becoming, synonymous with the with being the Wildfire guy, with being the 8-field guy. But I actually honestly feel like the 8-field strategy, it's something that they can't play around as effectively. And in part, that's really just because the 8-field strategy, like, how can I say, it doesn't, like, there's no dyssynergy with our own deck. At worst, it just decreases it color defixes them and it color fixes us. And at the end of the day, against the vast majority of modern, we're always going to have more basics than them. Eventually, they do run out of basics at some point, even if it's a little later on if they don't fetch out basics in the beginning. So like I mean, we could be in the early stages of where people are like playing around Blood Moon, and to some extent that makes the Wildfire package better. But as you can see, in a lot of games, I win without even having to rely on either the Blood Moon or the Strip Mine approach. Like, there's a lot of matchups where I win without any sort of gimmick involved at all. And you know what? Yeah, I guess we embrace a little gimmick angle here. We got the 8-field and the Cleansing Wildfire gimmick, but maybe that's just the direction of modern. Maybe every deck needs to have at least a little of a gimmick. As you can see, though, that for our deck, the gimmick is just completely the gimmick is completely zero sum. Or yeah, the gimmick does not like all of the cards that are gimmicky. They're all decent in their own right, in my humble opinion, and that has always been the way I tend to feel at my strongest when I'm playing Magic. Have I played synergistic decks? You better believe it. I actually even played Burn for a long time, and Burn is kind of the definition of a synergistic deck to some extent. But I've always felt like Merfolk, between Burn and Merfolk, I always liked Merfolk more. And I think one of the reasons why is, and it's weird because Merfolk seems like a synergistic deck, but I always played it where like you can absolutely win by just beating face with Lord of Atlantis even without even without Island Walk. The reality is I was just playing kind of a budget mono blue Jund deck. And you know what? I think I kind of learned. I think basically I taught myself how to play mid-range by playing Merfolk a lot. And even though I haven't been playing Merfolk for a while now, unfortunately, I mean, hey, it lives on with the Sea and Sky deck, which you all will see more of this. Let me tell you. Oh yeah, Thirst for Discovery. You better believe it. You better believe I've been liking it. Yes, I did go 4-1. Maybe that'll be a video I make in the future. Riptide Pilfer. What am I doing here? I can't say that I've actually like used this yet, but I don't want to go into it, but like I have ideas here. I have ideas here, and it's actually not half bad. But this isn't about the mono blue Sea and Sky deck, which is kind of the spiritual successor in my mind to Merfolk. But in any case, I hope you all enjoyed because it's always a blast, and it's always great to get the trophy, especially when there's you know, especially when there's a lot of interest. And yeah, and when you've got this far, I have to imagine that you like this content. So please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If for some reason you unsubscribed, but then you kept on watching, can you subscribe back again? And of course, the like button, as always, is super appreciated. And with that, let's give a shout out to the patrons. Thank you so much, Patrick, Westman, Jules Varro, Kevin Rubach, Roland Shonenman, S. Robertson, Sophus Garup, Erwin Lopez, Stanley Franks, Kyle Walters, Mark, Z. Cole Smith, Lucas Frank, Andrew Watts, Michael Patton. Thanks a lot. And yeah, I hope you all did enjoy. This has been quite enjoyable for me as well. And with that, yeah, yeah, that's where we're at right now. I actually have not made any changes since this match to mono red mid range. Is it possible I go back to Mr.'s research desk? Yes, it's possible, but the thing is though, there has been a lot to like about Dragon Engine, and there are some matchups where we do, believe it or not, run at a card advantage with Mr.'s research desk, and I don't know. Like, it is possible we go back to research desk, but as we can see, Dragon Engine is very solid. Anyway, once again, please, before I go, hit that like button on your way out if you can, and please, please subscribe. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye.